Yep.
Good?
I am like basically one of the co-chairs. I received all the correct. Yes, sorry. Yeah, I'm a medical student.
Hello, Jennifer.
I am. I'll be graduating and staying here now.
Got a lot of stuff up here to look at.
Easy there.
The chair will call the Tuesday, April 9th, 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting agenda to order. If you will please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Clerk, will you
evening.
please call the roll?
Will do. Alderman Redpath. Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford.
Here.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderwoman Dontriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Conley.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item on the agenda is the approval of committee meeting minutes from last committee meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Madam Treasurer, do you have the treasurer's report?
Thank you, Chair. The Treasurer's report for the corporate fund for the month of March, beginning balance is $59,224,469. We took in total receipts $10,661,536. We had total disbursements $15,117,230. That left the ending corporate fund balance at $54,768,775, which included $14,471,597 of ARPA money. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Treasurer. The chair will entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report as submitted.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. There are no presentations this evening, so next item on the agenda are the ordinances and resolutions tabled to remain in committee. Agenda item number 2024-089. Next item on the agenda are ordinances for committee consideration. CWLP, Mr. Clerk.
2024-100, an ordinance accepting bids and authorizing contract UE 24-01-78 outdoor 7.62 kV voltage regulators with Gray Bar Electric Company Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $349,735.05 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2024-101, an ordinance authorizing payment of membership dues to American Public Power Association in the amount of $53,615.33 for the Office of Public Utilities.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion on agenda item number 2024-101? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-102, an ordinance authorizing the City of Springfield, Sangamon County, Illinois, to borrow funds from the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency's Public Water Supply Loan Program for lead service line replacement project for the Office of Public Utilities.
Consent. Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-103, an ordinance suspending the inter-fund transfer from water fund to the corporate fund for fiscal years 2024 and 2025.
Move for consent.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion?
Yes.
Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, I just was wanting to know, this will eventually get paid back, right? Once the fund builds back up? Or is this, because part of the move when we went to the increased water rates was to pay back the corporate fund or what we've.
Right, yeah, so basically the budget last year, FY '24 and this year, were approved without a pilot basically for the water fund. And that was ordered basically to keep us in good a cash position as possible. So it is a complete waiver of that. And the same thing was done in FY '23 as well.
But I thought that when we voted for the increase, the water rate increase, part of the sell was that we were going to pay back because we owe different funds money, we were gonna pay those back.
It was never said that we were gonna pay this back for the waiver. It was that we were gonna go back to paying the payment and next
That's
fiscal.
not, that's not what my understanding was.
That was the intent.
Anything further, Alderman?
I mean, I think that as the fund, we get the funds up, that's the reason why we had it at the level we did. I think that we should pay it back.
Well, I mean, that's fine with me as far as whenever the cash is built up enough to be able to pay that back.
For
I'd be okay with it.
clarification, Mr. Brown, would that take council action? It has something would have to come anyway before us,
Yes.
is that right?
Yes.
Anything else, Alderman?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Alderwoman Matrano.
Thank you, Chair. So I was under the impression, actually, that this payment was in the budget that we just voted on.
No, it was not.
Okay. But the rate increase was in the budget we just voted on.
That is correct.
Okay, so for 2025, we need to pay this.
So, the calculations that were presented was that was waived in the budget. That's what we presented on. And the rate increase is the money that we will start collecting, or we have been collecting of March 1 through the fiscal year. So all that money is not deposited at the beginning of the year. It's, carried through the year that money is brought in. And that money's already allocated for various projects, not for this waiver. Or, well, not for the pilot, the 400,000 roughly.
Yeah, I really, I don't know, when's the last time you looked at the 25 budget? I went through it pretty closely, and I really think that you did include this payment in it.
Well, I'm not going to debate that right now because I
Okay.
don't have it in front of me. But what I've been told and what I was shared with was that
Okay.
that was not included.
Okay,
That's why we brought the pilot ordinance waiver forward.
okay, motion for debate.
Second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda per city council rules. That's fine.
Who made the
Alderman-
second?
We have a second.
did.
Thank you. Alderman Rockford.
Yeah, I think, Doug, in the future, as a council, we need to come back and, whether it's next year or 2 years down the road or whenever, and revisit this and to start paying that again.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
once-
It
once
was-
the fund
it
is
was,
built up and-
It was only for this past fiscal that was done last year.
Last 2-3
And
years.
then it was done again like in '23, but it already had an ordinance that was waived.
Okay.
Back then. It was not done, the ordinance was not done
Yeah,
last year. And then, so we did both,
yeah, just so you can,
make it right.
right, okay, thank you.
Thank
Chair.
you, Alderman. Alderman Redpath.
Doug, was the intent to hold this for 2 years in order to build up the fund?
The intent was to balance the budget for that fiscal year.
Oh.
So that's where we were at, is trying to make sure we have enough, trying to have enough cash.
I know
on
that
hand
we talked
by the end.
about, that before we start some projects, we wanted to make sure we had a balanced budget. Is that part of this?
So for last year, that fiscal year was already done. It was already put in the budget that way. We were advised that we should go ahead and put something forward to correct that one. So we're doing the same thing with this fiscal as well. I mean, we should have used that ordinance probably at the time, but we weren't thinking about the waiving of it, that we had to technically do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Redpath.
It was-
Alderman Carlson.
Doug, it was my
Council
understanding, has the water fund, have we borrowed from the electric fund over the years?
Yes.
Okay, okay. And maybe that's what I
And we're
was
supposed to
thinking
pay that
versus the
back,
corporate
too.
fund. It's the electric fund where we have borrowed from that.
Correct, yes.
And what's the plan? Is the plan to pay that?
Yeah, we
back
have
as
to,
well?
yes.
Right. Okay.
Anything else of Mr. Brown while he's up here? Okay. Hearing none, the motion and the second for the debate agenda. Any further discussion, any further discussion, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, Public Works.
2024-104, an ordinance authorizing Amendment Number 2 to an agreement with Sangamon County Water Reclamation District for installation of sanitary sewers on property at Lake Springfield for the Office of Public Works and Public Utilities.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion and second for the consent agenda. There is an amendment. The chair will entertain a motion for proposed amendment number 1.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second for the adoption of proposed amendment number 1. Corporation Counsel, will you please explain the amendment?
Yes, the amendment changes the funds in which this is coming from, so $1 million of ARPA funds can be used to help pay the total authorization of this ordinance.
Any further discussion? Alderwoman Conley.
Sorry, being slow. Thank you, Chair. Thank you for that, Greg. I do want to point out, this is one of the things that we had voted on originally, was that ARPA funds should be used for this sort of sewer work and connecting the properties around the lake. So I appreciate catching this and getting this amendment moving forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting proposed amendment number 1 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now, for the consent agenda as amended, is there a motion? There was a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, are you clear who made those motions?
On the original one, but you want to do one as
I'll
amended?
make a
Certainly do
motion
that.
for consent.
Second.
Alderman Redpath makes a motion for the consent agenda for item number 2024-104 as amended, a second by Alderwoman Conley. Any further discussion, any further discussion, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2024-105, an ordinance authorizing a preliminary engineering agreement between the City of Springfield and Martin Engineering Company for professional services for engineering design for drainage and roadway design of sanitary sewers for the Linhart Road for Isles Avenue to city limits, 1,700 feet south of Old Jacksonville Road for the Office of Public Works.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-106, an ordinance authorizing payment to Azteca Systems LLC for a joint purchase of CityWorks Enterprise license agreement and maintenance from April 15, 2024 through April 14, 2025 for an amount not to exceed $173,628 for the Office of Public Works and Public Utilities.
Move consent.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Rockford, seconded by Alderman Redpath for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-107, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of real estate located at 1527 North 11th Street between the City of Springfield and Computer Bank in an amount not to exceed $189,150 relating to the Springfield Rail Improvement Project, usable segment 6B for the Office of Public Works.
Chair will entertain a motion for adopting proposed amendment number 1.
So move.
Motion and a second. Is there, Mr. Corporation Counsel, will you please explain proposed amendment number 1?
So proposed amendment number 1 corrects the price, there was a price increase of $5,000, so that is reflected in the not-to-exceed amount.
Any discussion? Any discussion on proposed amendment number 1? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Move for consent.
Second.
Move for consent for agenda item number 2024-107 as amended. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-108, an ordinance approving the change order number 1 with Truman L. Flatt & Sons Company Incorporated for the FY 2024 Bituminous Overlay Program by authorizing an additional $610,913.93 for a total amount not to exceed $5,025,841.93 for the Office of Public Works.
Is there a motion?
Motion for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Alderman Gregory made the motion. Who seconded?
Alderman
Rockford. Any discussion? Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. If the director could come up.
Director Fuchs? Director Fuchs, like books.
Hi, Dave.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a kind of a bigger change order. What exactly happened with this?
Well, we had several bits of pavement that deteriorated much more rapidly than we had anticipated, particularly out on West Lake Shore. We also overlaid 4th Street between Jefferson and Capitol. We had a chance to do that, and we also had vault repairs. There was a vault underneath of 4th Street that deteriorated very rapidly, and we had to repair that before we could overlay.
So this works, okay, that's all, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Alderman Redpath.
Director? Yes. The biggest problem I see in Springfield, in most places, is the state-run roads that come through city of Springfield. We regularly talk to the state about those Stevenson Drive. I know MacArthur was on there, Sangamon Avenue, Peoria Road, stuff like that. Where are we at in those negotiations or those discussions?
We communicate with them on a very, very regular basis, and we have made our evaluation of those pavements very, very clear to them. I know that they are seriously considering repairs to all of those, but we do talk.
So Stevenson Drive is about to be part of a major project with the expansion of 6th Street on the south end that goes out to 72. They're going to take away the frontage roads, and there's going to be no access to those businesses there. They're going to have to come in from the backside. So is that part of the rerouting from the 55 Stevenson exit that they're going to reroute cars down Stevenson Drive? Is that a problem why they're not fixing that road?
I couldn't speak to that. I'd have to ask them, but I'd be glad to do that.
I'm sorry to throw that up if you weren't aware of it, but the bottom line is that it's like, if it's one of the worst roads in Springfield. Stevenson Drive's a mess, and it interacts between 4 wards. So, and it's a mess, and there's no sidewalks on there either. If that's the reason they're not fixing it, I get it, but if it isn't, they need to move on that, because it's been terrible for years, and it's like a washboard running down there. And I know everybody tells you every street in Springfield's a washboard, but I think our city streets, the ones that we handle, are being better properly taken care of than what the state's doing. So that's why I'm asking, if you would, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Alderman Rockford.
Director, real quick, down Peoria Road, they have gone through and they've shaved some of the humps, so to speak, out of Peoria Road. Do we patch that? Do our crews go in and patch those holes,
I don't believe so.
the potholes? Okay.
State road.
I know it's state road, but I didn't know if there was some kind of
Not that I'm
agreement
aware of.
between the two.
I'd be glad to double check, but not that I'm aware
If you
of.
would, please. I mean, if we could do it, that'd be awesome, but, I don't think they're gonna reimburse you anyway, but it needs to be done. It's embarrassing, to be honest with you. You know, it's a state road and one of your main thoroughfares coming from the north end of town, Sangamon Avenue, Peoria Road. It's a shame they gotta be in that condition.
We communicate with them regularly, and I'll be sure and include that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. There's a motion and a second for the
Alderman
consent
Williams.
agenda. Alderman Williams, sorry.
You know, I'm not going to belabor this, but I feel like Peoria Road runs into 9th Street. 9th Street's horrible. I know Dirksen Parkway's horrible. Again, state. You're in who are you in communication with?
With District 6 is who we speak to.
6, okay. Okay, if we can get some help, we appreciate it. We really would, Director, because the citizens don't understand that. When they driving down 9th Street, they think they're in Springfield, and they think Springfield controls that street, and we really don't, you know. The same way with all these other streets that are being mentioned, and it does make it look like your department in particular, we're not taking care of our roads, and, you know, I have to become an educator and teach them that, well, this ain't city responsibility, so I think it needs to be boosted up to urgent about several of the roads that are state,
Yes,
if
sir.
you could. Thank you.
Thank you.
But you're doing a great job. Thanks.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Alderman. There's a motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, General City Business.
2024-109, an ordinance approving the appointment of David E. Wells to the Springfield Electrical Commission.
Move for debate.
Second?
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. Is Mr. Wells on the premises? I don't believe he is. Okay, maybe he'll be here next week. Any further discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-110, an ordinance approving the appointment of Kim Frame, Rockford, to the Civil Service Commission.
Move for debate.
Second?
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. Is Ms. Rockford in? No? Oh, there she is. Want to come up and introduce yourself, please?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name's Kim Rockford. I live on Vine Street here in Springfield, and a lot of familiar faces. I am happy to have this opportunity to serve on the Civil Service Board for our community, and I look forward to working with all of you. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you for being here this evening, and thank you for your interest in serving your city. Any questions or any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of putting agenda item number 2024-110 on the debate agenda, please vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-111, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Molly Burns to the Springfield Historic Sites Commission.
Move for debate.
Second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. I don't believe I see Molly, but we all know her very well and thank her for the work that she does in partnership with the city and the county and others throughout the county. The motion was for the debate agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-112, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Aaron Acree to the Building Code Board of Appeals.
Move for debate.
Second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. It is
Aaron.
Aaron in the council chamber this evening? Believe so? Okay. Motion is for the debate agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-113, an ordinance approving the reappointment of Mark Henderson, PESC, to the Springfield Building Code Board of Appeals.
Move for debate.
Second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. Is Mark? Mark,
He's here.
come on up and introduce yourself, Mark, and thank you for being here.
Welcome, and thank you for considering me to be reappointed. My name is Mark Henderson. I'm a professional engineer and a licensed structural engineer in the state of Illinois. I've been on this board, the Board of Appeals, for 4 years, and it's been a pleasure to serve the city of Springfield, and I thank you for consideration.
Mr. Henderson, thank you for being here, and thank you for your past service and your interest in continuing that service. Are there any questions or any discussion for Mr. Henderson this evening? Seeing none, all those in favor of signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-114, an ordinance
Thank you.
authorizing a decrease in the number of Class D liquor licenses by one for Mercedes Restaurant Incorporated doing business as Alexander Steakhouse,
Move consent.
located at 620 Bruns Lane.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda.
You
Motion by
paused.
Alderman Redpath, seconded by Alderman Rockford. Any discussion, any discussion, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-115, an ordinance authorizing a change of location for a Class A liquor licenses for Betternet Hut LLC doing business as Betternet Hut located at 215 North 2nd Street.
Motion for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion, any discussion, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-116, an ordinance approving an extension to the cable television franchise agreement by and between the City of Springfield, Illinois, and Comcast of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, LLC.
Move for debate.
Second.
Motion and a second for the debate agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-117, an ordinance providing the issuance of taxable sports complex revenue bonds, Series 2024, the City of Springfield, Sangamon County, Illinois.
Move for consent.
Well,
Second.
first, the chair will entertain a motion for consideration of proposed amendment number 1.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Corporation Counsel, will you explain this, and then we'll ask for any questions that the older people may have?
Yes, so this amendment comes out of several discussions that we've had with the developer and the bank about how the finances will be divvied up when the bonds are issued and when the taxes are rolling in. So if you look, a bulk of the changes apply beginning page 18, which is how the sports complex account will be funded and what accounts will be funded first with the dollars and how that will be broken out. So there's no change to the terms of the second amended development agreement or how that will be funded in general. This really went to the details of what the funding looks like and what the payments will look like as the parties move through this development.
Thank you, Counselor. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. Mr. Mordock, can you please explain, and I apologize, I didn't have a good chance to look at this closely, the change to the definition of hotel motel taxes?
Yes, so the,
I guess specifically the substitute taxes? I guess I don't quite understand what that,
Well, so the substitute taxes would be if there was a change to the hotel motel tax. If you look, there's supplemental sales tax that's provided to supplement if any of our other taxes change. And so this would catch that, or if we used a different tax source in the future. There's none contemplated at this time, but that was a way to tighten that definition.
so this was some legal.
Yes,
tightening.
this is what happens when you get 3 or 4 attorneys in a room.
That's what it looked like, but I just wanted to make sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman Gregory.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Bardock, has there been any movement on the community engagement piece in this contract, sir?
So the community engagement piece is not, it's not addressed in the bond ordinances. It is still required in the second amended development agreement. I would need to go back to the developer to see if there was any changes. I know that there's been discussions and a partnership with District 186 about using the fields once they're up and running. But beyond those, beyond that generalization, I would need to go back to them to get the actual details of what they're doing.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir.
Anything further, Alderman?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Back to the motion at hand for proposed amendment number 1. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adopting amendment number 1, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Okay, for agenda item number 2024-117 as amended, is there a motion?
Motion for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2024-118, an ordinance providing the issuance of taxable business district tax revenue bonds, Series 2024B of the City of Springfield, Sangamon County, Illinois.
The chair will entertain a motion to consider proposed amendment number 1.
Second.
Motion and a second. Counselor, will you please, now that there's a motion and a second, will you please summarize amendment number 1?
Yes, this amendment changes the term repayment to redemption on a couple pages throughout this ordinance. That's a technical correction that arises out of Alderwoman Conley's concern with too many of us in a room.
Thank you for that explanation. Is there any discussion on proposed amendment number 1? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting proposed amendment number 1 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Now for the ordinance as amended, is there a motion?
So moved for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion, any discussion, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-119, an ordinance approving an escrow and dispersing agreement with Legacy Park Sports, LLC, and Heartland Bank and Trust Company representing Springfield Community Bank for payment of project costs related to the Legacy Park Sports Complex.
Moved for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-120, an ordinance authorizing the execution of contract RFP FD 24-09 with Harold O'Shea Builders Incorporated for mold remediation at Fire Station 12 for an amount not to exceed $469,741 for the Springfield Fire Department.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Alderwoman Natrano.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a couple of questions for Director Lesko, if he's,
Mr. Lesko, come on down.
You're the next contestant. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so for this one, I had some questions about the procurement, obviously. So I noticed that we put it out for bid and it didn't get a response twice.
Yes.
Did you have anyone at all express interest?
No,
Okay,
no. We put it out, we put it out twice. We advertised, we kind of reached out, tried to generate some interest locally, did not find any takers or anybody really interested in, or I don't know, I don't want to say willing to do the work or able to do the work or able to put everything together to do this type of remediation, construction, try to figure out what needed to be done on the property, so, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that there was no pre-bid meeting.
Well, there was no pre-bid, but within both times, within the RFP that went out, we listed contact information to contact the fire department. We would meet them out there at any time. So not just at a certain time to get everybody there. We would try to expand that, say we would meet anybody out there at any time. They could look around, they could engage. So we thought that would be a better opportunity to do than to just have a set time where maybe nobody would show up, which we have had in the past. If we, on something like this, where we don't necessarily know if anybody, after the first time, if nobody shows up, if nobody shows any interest, then, you know, rather than set a certain specific pre-bid meeting, we try to open it up, something like that, to allow somebody.
And do you know if we have like a Serve Pro, or like, are they registered to bid with the city? Like companies like that,
Well,
that would do remediation?
well, I don't know if they are, but this is more than I think just remediation. I mean, this is more, and the chief can help me out here, this is more construction with, rather than just going in and doing some remediation work.
Yeah, because the mold itself has been taken care of and put a Band-Aid on multiple times. And so this is to actually fix the ventilation problem and remove some of the damaged materials and put it back to where it can, this building has a new life and can not have a mold problem in the future.
Okay. So then you would have reached out to like ventilation, HVAC contractors and?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, the last thing that sort of gives me pause is I noticed that you waived the minority and women-owned business requirements with this.
Well, that was part of their proposal in that, I mean, because we were doing it just through a proposal from O'Shea and themselves. I mean, yes, I mean, it was part of their proposal that because they were, you know, supplying us that proposal, they asked for that to be waived.
Okay, all right. Well, I think that's it for my questions. Thank you.
Well, not me. Sorry.
Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. So you said they can waive that?
Well, I mean, we requested them to come out to look at the property because it had gone out for bid twice. We received no interest, no.
I get that part, but Mike, what did you just say? They can waive the
Well,
minority participate?
No.
The female?
They, as part of their bid, they just waived their MBE, FBE usage. So they did not advertise for female and minority-owned businesses as part of their usage for female and minority business entities.
We don't require them to do that?
Well, we do require it, but they asked for a waiver in this instance, and because we had asked them to come out because they had not, because we had no interest previously, as part of, you know, as part of.
So this is not the norm, though?
No, this is not the norm. Just as part of this bid, you know, we accepted that waiver in this case.
Okay. I would like to look at that a little bit more, working in my previous job at IDOT. I know in order to have something like that waived, they had to show us that they reached out to several people and that those people had said they couldn't do it. They didn't have the capacity, but just waiving it just off the bat, that just sounded alarming to me.
Okay. Yeah, I can look into that. I'm not sure if they're even using subs on this.
Okay.
So if they're not using subs, they wouldn't be required to
Just doesn't sound good when you hear that
Yeah,
they waive female minority participation.
Right, I'll have to look. It's been a while since I've looked at what they had provided. So,
Okay.
but I do, yeah, I would have to look. I can look at it and get back.
Thank you.
Anything further, Alderwoman?
No, thank you, Chair.
Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you. Yeah, and Chief, thanks for coming up. Just wondering what the timeline is for this work to get started and completed?
So ideally, what we're looking at is Station 8 gets completed, we move 8 into that, and then there's an engine and a truck at Station 12. We would move one of those apparatus to the new 8 temporarily. We don't want to abandon that west side, so part of that bid includes some temporary housing there on site so that they can still cover that, territory. And so we're looking at June, probably June or July.
So I think what you actually just told me is Station 8 should be open in June.
Inadvertently, I guess I did.
Well, that's good information.
That's exciting.
That's hopeful, yes.
And I'm sure everyone at 8 will be happy to house some of 12. But how long will this work take for?
I honestly
we
do
know?
not know how long it'll take. That would be a question for O'Shea.
Okay. I'm just wondering how long we'll have firefighters housed in, will it be a mobile home or manufactured home or a trailer? I mean, I see the alternative for up to 4 people.
Yes, it's for three people to be there. O'Shea tells us it's going to be very, very nice. It is temporary, but I don't know. I haven't seen the structure or anything like that. And
Largely, my concern with that is if we get another a big storm, I mean, the station might be protected, but those are not,
right. And the
storm
structure, or
ready.
the station will still be utilized because
Sure.
the rig will still be in it in the garage. And, they can seek shelter if need be in the station. Good point.
Very good to know. Okay, thank you.
Alderman Williams.
Yeah, thank you. Would I be correct in saying that the authority to waive lies with you, the director?
Well, no, the authority to waive is actually with the city council. So by passing the ordinance, or by passing the ordinance to award.
Now, I'm trying not to go there. So they requested a waiver.
Right.
And you brought it to us already, is what you're saying?
Well, I mean, we would recommend, I would recommend the
And
waiver as
that's what
part
we're
of the
doing now.
ordinance. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what we're doing right now, is approving to waive. I didn't get it
I
in
don't
the
need-
explanation in the.
I think I need to, before I answer, I probably need to look at the contract and
That's
and
fine,
verify.
Director. I just was trying to understand what we were doing, and I think I got my answer that if this passes, we are waiving it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Notrano.
One more thing. So I would have to say, this is very nitpicky, but just like I assume the job was mostly mold remediation, maybe in the future, we name it something that gets to the gist of what the work is going to be done. And if in cases like this, where we have to go from competitively bidding something to basically soliciting a contract with a third party, if we could have maybe with the backup you give us for the ordinance, if we could have a list of firms that you contacted so we can feel a little bit better about the competitiveness of this. And yeah, I would say, I would agree with Alderwoman Purchase. I would like to see their efforts at getting workforce participation. I understand we waive the ownership participation, but in terms of the workforce, I think, I mean, we should give them put up a little bit of a fight there, I think.
Yeah, Let me review the contract and see
You
what
fine.
they're.
Any further questions, Alderwoman?
Yep, that's it, thank you.
Okay, we got a couple more. Alderman Hanauer.
I think that one of the problems that we had was we didn't get any takers. And did we actually approach O'Shea on this? Is that how I understand it?
Yes.
And they've agreed to do it, but they've just asked for the waiver for
Right,
just
because-
this particular job.
Yes, because they actually, are doing the 3 houses, and they are, they have minority and women working, that has been one of the good things we've seen with them, in the 3 new houses that are being built. When we approached them, they said, oh, yeah, we're very busy, we've been working with you though, and, we'd like to help you out, and so they came in, looked at it, and gave us the proposal that they did.
So I would assume that since we bid it out initially with an RFP and we didn't get any responses back, this isn't probably the easiest job. And we've already gone out multiple times, you said, and we've cleaned up the mold, but it just keeps coming back. And our purpose this time is to clean the mold up and fix the house to where it doesn't come back. So hopefully we won't see this again.
Correct, correct.
I mean, I get what people are saying about it would be interesting to talk to, the O'Sheas and find out, why they wanted this waived. They're probably just using people that they have available is what my thought is.
I can't speak to that.
But,
It was a line in their proposal.
right.
Have to look.
But it was the only proposal we had, so we don't, if they did not, if they say, well, we're not willing to do that, we have nobody to do the work. We have nobody. We've gone out twice. What do? Leave our firefighters in a house with mold, continue to deal with this? We're kind of caught here. I mean, I guess we need to talk to them first, but.
Yeah, I just wanted clarification.
Okay, could you do that, please, Mr. Lesko, and then get back with us? That'd be very helpful. Okay, we have several others that have signed up. Some are very excited and have signed up twice. Alderman Gregory.
No, I would just say, this situation, and thank you, Jennifer, for bringing this to our attention, but I would say this is sort of confusing, because I remember when we had a conversation some time ago, we had a labor leader come up here and say they didn't have a minority participation on the 3 firehouses, and then when we approved the projects, they had sort of bragged on having, a 42% minorities participation. I ride by the firehouses frequently. I don't see that many minorities on it. I think I might have seen 1 or 2 on the one on 11th Street. So just to make it quick, so can we see, get a report of the numbers of where we're at on the 3 firehouses and minority numbers, workers, vendors, contractors, all of that? I know our community relations director was speaking on that last week about different vendors and different lists that we are acquiring. So I think that's important for the council to see, because whenever we have a situation like this, it sort of just, makes me look at it a little bit. So if I could have that information and as well as the council, I think it will help out with this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Good suggestion. Alderman Carlson.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. I mean, I wanted a little bit of what Alderman Hanover said, sort of reset the narrative here. I think what we've done is everything we can do. We've gone through 2 RFPs. I think we have to, by law, minority representation. I think what we all want and what we're all striving for, we have to do it. This situation, no one applied. No one applied twice. And the bottom line is we have to get this thing done as soon as possible. Would that be an accurate?
I would say
Yes,
that's our goal.
yes.
Thank you.
I think our goal is to fix the problem.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. So I just want to close it by saying that I'm not speaking against what's being presented to us. I'm just trying to understand what happened, because this is not usual that we hear this. And then, as I've heard some of my colleagues say, actually, Chief Cannon, you just said it, we've had minority participation on all three firehouses, so to see it not being done with the same company on this, it just was a little alarming. So just having clarification on what the process is, and thank you for explaining too, Mike, about how we are the body that's making the decision for that, but understanding how we're doing it, and do anybody just get to kind of do this on their proposals, or do you have something in place that says that they need to show you? Just from my background of being at the Illinois Department of Transportation, you have to show that you're trying to meet that requirement, and then you get the waiver.
No, well, within all of our bid contracts, obviously, they would have to show, and they're required to have female minority business entity advertisements and inclusion. So anytime we're doing any type of bid project, that's included, so.
Okay, yeah, we just, we appreciate getting that for, and I know you looking at us like, let me look into it, so I don't say the wrong thing.
My guess is, I need to look at the contract too.
That's fine, but I just wanted to reiterate to Alderman Carlson and Alderman Hanauer, I understand what you all are saying, but, you know, being a female up here, it just was alarming to hear that, so I just wanted to, you know, understand what was going on. I guess he gonna talk back to me.
Alderman Hanauer.
And I don't think we've ever, as far as I know, we've not had problems with
Encountered it.
O'Shea on any of this, and that's why it's kind of unusual, but there must be, they must have a reason for it, or, you know, they wouldn't do it.
Right, I talk to O'Shea very frequently, so I can ask and see why they asked for that, and see if they have a reason why. If they do, I'll bring it back to you.
Alderman Donnelly, can I say one thing?
Please, Alderwoman.
Thank you, Chair. So in the future, if something like this happens, since we have good reports with some of our developers, knowing that it will be something waived, can you bring that forward to us so we can know what's going on? And I think that'll eliminate a lot of questions.
Good suggestion, healthy discussion. Alderman Redpath.
Just to try to bring a little finality to this thing. This is why we have PLAs, we have certified payrolls, and in those, and we use ePrism to track all these contracts, and that's what we're doing right now. I can tell you that this mayor will not allow a project to go forward without minority participation at the level that we've set. And a lot of these places are above that level. This just happens to be an unusual circumstance that has brought that they had to bring this to us. So I can tell you that in the future, from where we sit now on this city council, there's going to be minority participation in every contract that's bid out that falls under the rules. And that's the best I can tell you. PLA, certified payroll, we run it through ePrism, and ePrism is how we track all that stuff, okay? So just hope that helps.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Conley again.
Thank you, Chair. And I think Alderman Redpath, to what you're saying, with this council, I mean, the conversation I'm hearing is, this is an unusual occurrence for us. We don't see this often where we get that kind of a waiver. And so I think really kind of the message I'm hearing from all my colleagues is that minority and female participation is very important to us. To not see it is a concern, and we just want to make sure that that's highlighted and continued. And of course, you know, Mike, thank you again. We know this is an important project that needs to get done. Sometimes you have to have that flexibility if no one wants to do, you know, a fair amount of work here. I mean, 2 new HVAC systems, and this is a fairly big job that's important. But the other message is that involvement is very important to this council, and we want to make sure that that gets carried through to O'Shea, and I'm sure that they understand that too. So, thank you.
Again, good, healthy discussion. The motion on the table is for the consent agenda for agenda item number 2024-120.
Second.
Motion for the debate, I think I heard. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there a second for the debate?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second for the debate agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-121, an ordinance amending Chapter 38, Section 38.35 of the 1988 City of Springfield Code of Ordinances as amended by authorizing the purchase of actuarial services by removing exemption threshold that requires city council approval and align its procurement requirement with professional services contracts for the Office of Budget and Management.
Is there a motion?
Motion for consent.
Motion for consent. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Could someone please come up and explain this ordinance, please? Anyone? Any takers?
I can explain what it does.
Yes, sir.
And then I might defer to Ramona why she asked for it. Currently, the city code requires any actuarial services to be brought before council. This would subject it to our other threshold for professional services, which is $25,000. I believe last council, there was a request for actuarial services for somewhere around $5,000 that had to be approved by council. So this would bring it to the standard $25,000 that you see for other professional services. Anything to add?
Anytime we have an accounting GASB report, we would have to come to council. Like if I have something special that needs to be run, like an actuarial report that's $500, I would have to come to council for that. So.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this one? Alderman Rockford.
Yes, so give me a example of a professional service.
When I go to, when I use outside counsel, so when I hire another attorney to handle a specialized case or something like that, that's a professional service that I would
So
come for.
previously, there was a $5,000 threshold?
No, there's a $25,000 threshold.
Right now,
There's a $25,000 threshold for any professional service except actuarial services.
Okay.
There's no threshold, so council has to approve $1 of expenditure on actuarial services.
Okay. Thank you.
So it makes the code consistent.
That's correct.
Okay, any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? The motion on the table for agenda item number 2024-121 is for the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-122, an ordinance amending ordinance 352-08-21 for additional automotive fuel purchases against contract CS 22-06-35 in an amount not to exceed $250,000 through the contract end date of July 31st, 2024, for a total expenditure not to exceed $1,850,000 for the Office of Budget and Management.
Move to consent.
Motion by Alderwoman Conley, seconded by Alderman Carlson for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-123, an ordinance authorizing execution of a professional services contract with Maricon LLC to complete actuarial reports for the city's health benefit costs for fiscal year 2025 and attestation for Part D subsidiary for a total amount not to exceed $5,500 for the Office of Budget and Management.
Move to consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion?
I'm assuming this is an example
Is
of the
this-
other
that's
ordinance.
what
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
2024-124, an ordinance authorizing execution of a contract with the Board of Trustees of the University of Illinois for fire protection services from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, in an amount not to exceed $66,165.15 for the Office of Budget and Management.
Move for consent.
Second.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
2024-125, an ordinance authorizing a supplemental appropriation from the unappropriated fund balance using Central Area Tax Increment Finance Funds for the improvement of water lines with a 10-inch fire domestic water service line along 2, 3, 4, and 5 Old State Capitol in an amount not to exceed $42,000 for the Office of Planning and Economic Development.
Motion for consent.
Motion and a second for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Any unfinished business to come before the committee of the whole this evening? Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Chair. I have a few items to address. I have one of my businesses from downtown who's coming up to address us momentarily, but I would like to ask Director Fuchs if you could come up here, please. I had asked, this is going to lead into why one of my businesses are here to address us. I had asked a little bit over a week ago about addressing the parking lot on the corner of 4th and Washington. I know that that's, so everybody's familiar with it, that's where we had a parking ramp and it was tore down and we redid it. Well, I know that we charge for parking during the day, but even like this past weekend, anytime we have extracurricular activities going on downtown, people use that parking lot. And I was asking if we could have some type of signage that would say that it's available to use on the weekends or evenings. Would you think that would be okay to do?
Well, the parking spaces there are $60 a month, and it is primarily used during the day, during the week. But I believe the expectation was that those would be available if they were leased 24/7. I believe that's the expectation. I would be more than happy to take a look at the policy. If we were to make that change, we would have to notify everybody who has a lease to let them know that we were making that change. So let me take a look at and figure out exactly how we would do that, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, and Director Fuchs, the reason I'm asking for that again, because it's leading up to one of the businesses coming up to speak. When we have big, huge activities going on, like festivals, the Lincoln Marathon that just happened, and we have our meters bagged for the entire weekend, people say it's a little hard to find parking. And I know that that's one area that's accessible to that whole street that's blocked off. So I thought this would be a great solution to it. And I see people park there anyways, and I don't see people getting tickets that's there over the weekend during those events.
Right. It's generally not occupied after 6 o'clock during the week. Absolutely. We'd be glad to take a look at it. As far as the bagged meters on our large events, since we do have so many large events that occur every year, we have an operational manual for each and every one of them,
Okay.
which outlines where the barricades are to go, where the no parking bags are to go. And we're all familiar with the red or maroon parking bags. Those are the older style. You may or may not have noticed, but we do have blue bags now. And there is a pocket that we can put the date and the time in the event that parking is limited. So let's say in the case of this past weekend, those would have said no parking on that part of 5th Street until, let's say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Those bags should have been on 6th Street. We took a look at the operational manual, and it has not been updated. Did not instruct the folks who were setting it up to use the blue bags with the specific date and time. So that was our fault. That should have been updated, and the individuals who were setting everything up were just following the manual like they do for every single other annual event that we have. So that would explain why that happened. It's been updated, and that won't happen again.
Thank you so much, because I know that we have some businesses tuning in tonight to listen to. And then the last thing to bring up is, have we had an update with the meters? Like, are we still keeping the meters up? Have you had any recent changes to them, or?
No, I have not.
Okay.
No, I have not. We are still, we have parking enforcement. Of course, you don't have to feed the meters, but we do, we have several individuals that patrol, and they digitally mark the vehicles by their license plates. And let's say you're in a 2-hour space, they'll come back sometime after 2 hours, and if you're still there, you are subject to a ticket.
Okay, and thank you so much for coming up here to also rectify the situation, because I think for people who are listening from our businesses and one of our business entities that's in the audience that's going to come up and address us, that's really helpful when sometimes we have a mistake on our behalf, because there's been a lot of dialogue going back and forth this weekend on social media, emails being sent to me, and I looked at that and it was a red bag that was all down.
The old style, and they simply say no parking. The new ones, the blue ones, have a pocket that we can insert a piece of paper that will give the date and the times that there is to be no parking in the specific event that we're talking about, and that's what should have gone there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Alderman
Sheriff.
Rockford.
Mr. Fuchs, a couple things. Out on Hedge Lane and Sangamon Avenue, we have a Dollar General. We've got a Fit Club, Dollar Tree, and a Ruler Food.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me, is there regulations to, so they got their dumpsters out in the back, and the wind is blowing all this garbage across the cornfields and down Hedge Lane, getting numerous complaints. When they ask these folks about their garbage, I mean, they're, not very polite about it, so my question is, do we have a rule or regulation? These things have to be inside a fenced-in area or something? So this-
Not a fenced-in area, but they are to be kept up, and that is a responsibility not only of the individual property owner who is retaining the services of the hauler, but the hauler is responsible too to make sure that when they offload, that they don't spill. If you'd, I could talk to you afterwards, we could get somebody out and take a look at it and make sure that gets addressed.
Okay, and then the second thing is don't let up, but we appreciate the houses being tore out across from Lanford and making good progress, and.
Yes, sir.
But keep it going. Appreciate you.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Dave.
Yeah, the landscape has changed considerably
Quite a
up
bit.
there.
Thank you.
Alderman Williams, I don't know if you had a chance to go through there, but it's,
I've been quiet tonight. I'm trying to be good tonight, but I thank you for that.
yes, sir.
Thanks, Director.
Thank you, Director.
Thank
Before
you,
you go, I understand that the waste management transition has occurred for the yard waste program. I understand the city's been receiving several calls on what a good job that waste management has been doing in the north area, where they've been picking up this week, and I just wanted to, if you could say a few words about that, that would be wonderful.
Well, certainly, transitions are always difficult, not only in our own lives, but in any program that any government entity has. The communication has been very good, and when we've found pickup hasn't been made, we communicate with Waste Management, and they address it promptly.
I understand one in particular, the gentleman left a message, and he stated that there were several, it was a windy day, a lot of debris and stuff, and he witnessed the staff picking up the debris and making it as clean as possible. And I'm glad you mentioned the transition period, because we obviously switched from one company to another. And if someone were to be missed, please either call your alderperson or go to the city's website. There is an email to Waste Management where you can submit your information so they can get out and pick up your yard waste.
Yes, sir.
It's that time of the year. Alderwoman Conley.
Well, Alderman Donnellan, you actually took most of what I wanted to say.
See how I am?
Except, I'm getting the opposite. I'm getting complaints about people who are missed. So.
On yard waste?
Yes, not a lot, but could you just, what is the email address that people, because I like to let people, hey, email Waste Management yourself.
It's
You know
I
it.
apologize.
SPI,
There we go. Alderwoman.
yard waste spelled out, at WM.com.
One more time, please.
SPI yard waste at WM.com.
WM, okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have a couple of people who have been missed. They've contacted me just today, and I'll send that in tonight, so.
And feel free to reach out to Public Works as well, because we still do get calls, so.
Oh, I reach out to you.
Yes, ma'am.
You hear from me a lot.
Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, I had some, and including myself, we had some, we got caught in that week in between. And I think we were supposed to be this last week. And I've gotten quite a bit of complaints that they didn't get picked up. And, they've called and they've been told the 15th is our next week, so they're going to have to wait. So it's only a few more days now, but they might have a lot of bad bags that are waterlogged in that.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I appreciate it. The other thing I wanted to mention, is there a way that we can have a public announcement or something out on social media to try to get people to clean the grates in the road? As we've gotten some rain, a lot of the yard waste and from winter and all that has built up in some of the grates, and it doesn't allow water to flow. And, we really need help with citizens. I know you guys try to do the best you can, but in neighborhoods and stuff, we really need the citizens to help, by going out and raking that up.
I'd be glad to make sure that message gets out, because that helps Public Works. It helps our neighborhoods to make sure that those storm sewer inlets are not covered, and it's easy for that to happen at this time of year. So
And I think we already have some graphics and PSAs that have been put together that would be helpful, Director.
outstanding
Yep.
communication,
Yeah,
outstanding.
thank you for that. Alderwoman Natriano.
Thank you, Chair. On that topic, I know we were waiting for another or a couple more street sweepers. Do you have an update on the street sweepers and possibly ever getting them on a schedule?
They are ordered, we are expecting them, but just when, I couldn't say, I'd have to double check with the equipment
Okay.
guys. But we anticipate them, and we could certainly use them.
Yeah, people are dying for a street sweeper schedule.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and old business, so I had a few people again who are new Republic customers having missed pickups, and our zone manager tried to get in touch with Republic to see if somebody had service, actually. And he was on the phone for 87 minutes.
7 minutes.
87 minutes. So I can't imagine what the public is going through. So do you have any advice or?
If you've reached out to a hauler and for whatever reason you're unable to make contact, just give Public Works a call.
Okay.
Christina is in contact with all of them every day.
She's
She
tremendous.
does a good
Yeah,
job,
she
too.
does do a good job.
She does a good job.
She does.
Leave her
Yep.
alone, Brad. Anything further, Alderwoman?
That's it for new old business.
Okay. Any further unfinished business? Seeing none, any new business? Alderwoman Purchase.
This is for Chief Scarlett. Come on up.
Thank you, Director.
We have been encountering some pop-up parties. And I know you have spoken with me this week and definitely last week. It's more personal to me now more than ever because last weekend in Madison Park Place, there were bottles everywhere, and my grandmother and other senior women were picking it up and cleaning it up. And there was like almost 300 to 400 cars that was blocking their driveways, on their grass. And at this point, I am not for sure what else we can do. I know you guys are trying to be very proactive with working with other people and asking the community to call you as soon as they see the first 5 or 10 cars start to pile up, because when they hit this location to ping the location, there's so many cars that comes at one time. So I wanted you to just give an update on not everything that you're doing, but for people to feel like it's okay and that the police department is enforcing rules and they're trying to be proactive.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak on that. And this year has proven to be no different than previous years, and it's important that the public recognize that it's our goal as law enforcement to be proactive and to get out in front of this. We started a social media campaign. We put our pop-up party operations plan into place, albeit slightly earlier this year than last year. But, you know, our intention is to have additional manpower out there. I will tell you this, and I didn't know what I was coming up with, so I left my notes back there. But 62% of the manpower that was dedicated to the city of Springfield was forced to reside in a 4-block area to deal with that one pop-up party. So not only am I upset that that's what my officers have to deal with, but the citizens of Springfield should also be upset in the fact that their area is not getting coverage because we've got to play babysitter, for lack of a better term. And I think it's important that one, I can sit up here and talk about the proactive work we're going to do and the enforcement efforts that we're going to take, and that will be rather substantial. But I need community leaders and influential people throughout the community to say, this is disrespectful. And your grandmother that you speak of would be a perfect example that could not necessarily speak to it, but she would be one to say, we're disrespecting her. You know, that's not fair to the citizens of Springfield to have to endure that. And it's my goal to do everything we can to minimize those parties. I will say this, with 2 of my officers in the back here, my goal is that they go home at the end of the night. And if that means that a party's gotten so big that we choose other methods than going to the middle of it, then I'm okay with that.
Thank you for that, and I will say we all know who the individual is who does the pop-up parties, and I was thankful that he did come over on that Sunday to apologize and also help with cleanup as well. But at some point, there has to be some accountability on that individual and those that we do see, because I think this becomes a security issue. If something happens to a senior in that area or anyone, the fire trucks can't get through the street because it's very packed. A police officer vehicle can't get through that street because it's very packed. I would think that would be, as they asked me, common sense to start towing cars out of there, but I'm not that familiar with all the rules.
Yeah, and we were fortunate last year, you all put a new ordinance in place that gives us a little more leverage when it comes to towing, and those are certainly, useful tools that we will use. I've also been in contact with Corporation Counsel about holding those individuals who like to organize these responsible, whether that's civilly or criminally. And again, I'm going to take every measure possible to ensure that this nonsensical behavior, for lack of a better term, either stops or goes somewhere other than our community.
Thank you for that. And Chief Scarlett, the reason I brought that up is because I attended with a few of my bars last night, the Sangamon County Board meeting, and majority of what they were saying kept saying pop-up parties. This is what's causing things to happen, but some of this stuff is taking place at 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, just from this previous past Sunday. It wasn't even close to 1 o'clock. So I think when we're talking about this, them hearing you say what you're doing, and I know you said you've said this over and over because it happened last year, but just reiterating it for people who are watching and tuning in on Tuesday nights to hear us, what you guys have in place. But that's not stopping people from going out and hanging out in the streets. If anything, I think these day parties and the establishments, that at least has it where they're checking IDs. We get to see what's going on, and they're somewhat controlled. But the block parties and house parties, we can't control any of those.
Well, I think we have certain criminal laws and city ordinances that obviously people have to abide by. So we certainly have that to fall back on. I would say this about possessing a liquor license, that should be seen. That's not a right. That's something that people are gifted by you all and have to apply for. And responsible bar owners should then, tend to their property and to their business and ensure that some of the stuff that you're speaking of doesn't happen on their properties. Because I know there are establishments in this community where issues don't happen, and there are establishments where issues do happen. And so what I would ask is that when the time comes to hold bars and bar owners responsible, that I would have the support of the council to do just that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Alderwoman Natriano.
If Alderman Gregory has something on the topic, I'll let him jump in front of me.
Alderman Gregory, do you have something on this topic?
Just a little bit, but
Yes, sir.
I will say I do agree with Chief Scarlett on the, we're not going to police our way out of this thing here. And we really, really have to have some community leaders and engagement to really stand up with us and just help those who don't understand what we're referring to. And I've been on Facebook and I've seen some, it's not about having a nice time at your house or anything. This is about late night pop-up parties, disturbing everyone, 300-400 cars, we're advertising it, and it's bringing other people from other cities, and it's causing a problem. The people in the community that we host these things don't want it. So they're calling the police, they're calling me, and things of that nature. So, we definitely need community leaders to help step up with us to help us get across the message that we need this to stop. Because we can, we've been at this for some years, with different tactics and things of that nature. And the only thing that's going to really, really help us stop it is by, getting community leaders to really stand with us on the right way to have fun. We're not trying to stop anybody's fun. We want people to have fun. I like to have fun. And I'm sure everybody else does at whatever time that they want. But the ultimate thing is public safety. And we have to keep communities safe. And it's unfortunate that a few people mess up, the various good times that we have. And, in the end, public safety has to reign true. So, I'm committed to working with any of our community leaders to really nip this in the bud for good in our community. But it has to be a teamwork. It can't be a police-only thing. We don't want anybody hurt either way. I don't want no mess. So I appreciate the way that you do it, and, you know, I'm gonna do everything I can to try to help. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Alderman. I appreciate the partnership that we've had, you know, trying to curtail some of these parties. And it is about public safety, but it's also about respect, you know, respect of our citizens that live in our community. And ultimately, you know, when those two things can come together, then things will be much more harmonious for sure.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Natriano.
Do you have something,
Yeah,
Alderman
yeah,
Williams?
just real quick, Chief.
Keep deferring. Alderman Williams.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want you to know, I just think, I want policing, but I think with these things, from my experience, I don't want the police to try to go in there. For one, because it's never enough police. And until you experience it, you probably won't understand. I know you do because you've seen them and caught them in action. But once you go past 200 cars and several blocks and can't get in there, it's just dangerous for police now. So I just think when I see our police, they on the outside mostly anyway, just taking notes and watch. Maybe we can record every license plate or something and then give them all tickets or something. I mean, I don't know legally if we can do that kind of thing, or like Alderwoman Purchase, go back and tow all of them that was there or something. But there's gotta be some form of punishment, and I just don't think it should be at the risk of the few police that are just quadruple outnumbered. And to go in there and to try to do that is just too dangerous. I know you, the chief, and you know that, so maybe you'll be training them after X amount of cars, we pull back or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and our goal is to not let X amount of cars get there, right? To try and proactively prevent those situations from happening. But to your point, when they get to a certain level, then yes, we have to weigh public safety, the safety of our officers versus the enforcement that we have to take. And I'm going to give away a little secret here, so for everybody listening and watching at home, just so they know, our goal is to everyone that we encounter that is violating one of our city ordinances, they will be receiving tickets in the mail from us. So we're not going to do it on the spot because I don't expect my officers to carry around notebooks and whatnot. So if you're out there and you're doing something you shouldn't, plan on getting a ticket in the mail.
How much is the fine?
Most of them are around $100 to start with for the first
Ooh, we need
offense.
to up that.
And we will be towing cars if that's something that needs to be done as well.
Sorry, Chair.
You're fine. Thank you, Chief, for that. Thank you, Alderman, for bringing that up.
Before you go.
Now you went away.
Sorry.
Now you're not on the.
Oh, sorry. I'm
Alderwoman, go.
Yeah,
please.
my business isn't related to this, but it just made me think, how many boots does the city have?
Yeah, so Public Works maintains our boots. I know that
Okay.
we have just a few of those, and actually the police department is looking to purchase some newer boots to be able to use. And that is one of the ordinances that you all passed last year, that once the fines reach a certain threshold as a result of these block parties, that we will be booting cars. So that is already in the process as well.
Awesome.
Yep.
Good to hear.
Chair, 400 boots? No, it's ridiculous. Thank you.
All you need is like 5, and people will get the idea.
Go ahead, Alderwoman.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so I have noticed around town and gotten a complaint about crash debris being left on the road. And I'm not quite sure whose responsibility it is to clean up, like the car parts and the glass and things like that.
Anyone care to take that one?
I'm sure other people have noticed as
Chief
well.
Ganny. Now, he was just up here. It's your turn.
Yeah, he was just up here, so he punted. Yeah, so we will try our best as the fire department and the police department to clear the road, but it's the tow company's responsibility to clear the roadway. And
Do you
to
have like
clean-
a contract with them?
No,
or-
it's each company, it's whoever shows up on scene to deal with the insured vehicle.
So how do we hold the tow companies accountable?
Good question. That's a question for corporate counsel. There's probably an ordinance that says, but I don't know that offhand.
We do maintain a tow list, and if they are in violation of our ordinances, they get suspended from the tow list. And they can also face violations if they leave a scene, just an ordinance violation that we can do them.
Cool, thank you.
Okay.
Any further new business? Any further new business? Hearing none. Mr. Clerk, I understand there are 2 citizens that requested to address the city council.
Actually, 3, Chairman.
Okay, I only have 2, but when did the third sign up?
Simone from Relay for Life came up.
Well, of course, we can let her come up. Elizabeth Wake, are you here? Please, come up and. Please address your comments to the chair, and you have 5 minutes. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. So my name is Elizabeth Wake. I'm a resident of Ward 5 and a business owner in Ward 5. I own The Wakery, which is a late-night coffee house and Springfield's only fully non-alcoholic bar. It's actually the only non-alcoholic bar in all of Central Midwest, which is really huge for Springfield. But today I would like to address the issue of parking in our beautiful downtown, which we already discussed briefly. There are many issues that I would love to discuss with council, such as permit-only parking lots, which we did discuss, that are empty after 5 p.m. that could be used, construction taking up prime parking spaces, the underground garage that has limited hours, and events that block off downtown, as well as bringing in food trucks that compete with our downtown, our actual brick-and-mortar businesses. But today, I just want to focus on one specific issue, which are the blockades and parking meters that are there before and after events. So, well, I know that there are many ideas for creating a better parking situation. My request today is hopefully easy and quick to facilitate, and I do believe that Director Fuchs already addressed this. But when events are held downtown, parking spaces are blocked off prior to the events to ensure that the streets can be blocked off without cars being towed or blocked in. The downtown meters are marked with a cover that declare no parking. After the event, you would assume that those meters would be removed swiftly, but this is not always the case. For example, this past weekend for the Lincoln Half Marathon, it took up a large portion of the downtown area. Of course, this is a wonderful event. I support it. I support other downtown events. But what I did not appreciate was that the meters in front of my business on 5th Street between Washington and Adams were still covered for days following the event. On Saturday, the half marathon ended at 11 a.m. Runners and families were completely cleared out by noon. But the blockades were removed and the meters remained covered all day and all night Saturday, all day and all night Sunday. I am open Saturday and Sunday. My patrons could not access my business because they could not park. On Monday at 5 p.m., there were still several meters covered. This discourages patrons from entering my business, from spending time and money downtown. As a business owner, Saturday and Sunday were incredibly slow when those are usually very busy days for me. Those who did come in said that it was difficult to find parking. The events that we have downtown are wonderful, but I would like to request expedited removal of roadblocks and parking covers. I do believe that there are ideas in the works to remove the meters from downtown, but until and unless this is done, we need to address how quickly the metered spaces are accessible again. I believe that the city already owns meters that are meter covers that have a pocket, which we did discuss, but these were not used on the meters surrounding the Wakery this weekend. Utilizing these covers for every event with an accurate insert is an easy solution to an issue that is creating a financial hardship for downtown business owners. If our patrons can't access our business, they don't spend money downtown. If the pocket covers can't or won't be used, the city needs to approve city workers to remove the covers immediately following the event. If this requires overtime pay, because this would probably be on a weekend, this should be put into the budget proposal by the city or charged by the city to the events themselves. Businesses trying to survive downtown should be thriving through these extra events, not suffering. Bringing events like the marathon downtown brings in a lot of people, which could bring in a lot of money for us, but we are blocking our downtown businesses from thriving by blocking patrons from spending their money downtown. If the city wants to see downtown succeed, the city needs to ensure accessible routes and accessible parking for downtown business patrons. Thank you.
Ms. Wake, reasonable request. Thank you for taking the time to come and bring it to our attention. I know Director Fuchs, he's still here. Director, if you don't mind having a chat with her about a couple of things you mentioned that he didn't discuss directly, but I think he's on track from what I heard. I didn't even know about the bags with the windows, and that's a really good idea, and I'm glad we're already heading down that path. Alderman Williams.
Yes, so you addressed pretty much after the event. Do you happen to know the timeline before the event? Like how much time before do they bag it?
For this one, I saw them out there Friday afternoon. which again, when it can stay, and that's usually so that the cars know that they can't stay there overnight. Because sometimes, like if you are downtown and drinking, you might be responsible, and that's great, and take an Uber home. Well, so then you're leaving your car downtown. So those are warning people that they're gonna get towed the next morning. I know they do this for the farmers markets, so that Adams and Fourth Street are accessible for when the farmers market sets up in the morning. But the bags that have the slots in them, that is really ideal because it would let patrons know, hey, you can still park here on Friday, but if your car is still here Saturday at 5 a.m., it's going to get towed. So I do think that those bags with the slots would be a really easy solution.
Okay, I just needed to know a timeline, how before.
Yeah, it was around Friday at noon.
Thank you.
Anything further, Alderman? Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank you for coming in and speaking to this. I know I get complaints kind of intermittently, you know, it's not my ward. I would, of course, forward that to Alderwoman Purchase, but I see a lot of things that people complain about on social media. I'm almost calling it anti-social media. It's so negative. But you came in, and you came in with solutions and ideas for us to use, and great to hear that Public Works is on that. But I really appreciate you taking this time tonight, sitting through the whole meeting, and participating with us, and really hiding those problems. So mostly just thank you for that, and for your business, which I think is fabulous, so.
Alderman Carlson.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Director Fuchs, what is the policy on the bag meter? Is there a policy as far as internally when you get them down? And along with that, at these special events, and I think I've seen it before, you know, there are garbage cans set around. I mean, I think we're responsible for those cans. Is there something where, you know, you could mirror, hey, when the garbage is picked up, we can do the bags, or is it a different sort of?
We have to be careful because of union contracts and the specific jobs. So trash is one thing. What we do like to do is put the bags on in the afternoon, you're right, because especially if it's a Saturday event, we want to let people know you're welcome to come downtown and you can park, but don't leave your car here overnight because they do get towed. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So that's why generally they go up the afternoon.
So internally then, if it's a Saturday afternoon event, most likely they're not coming down till Monday?
Well, it
that the policy?
depends on the event. The farmer's market, we have a crew that's dedicated to removing the barricades and the bags on the meters right after the event. Other events, we may not be able to get to it because, as Ms. Wake said, it's overtime.
I mean, okay, so that's, I mean, first thing Monday morning, whoever the
Yes.
bag remover is
They-
knows he's got to go remove those bags on Monday.
They start at 6.
Okay, and then how's the garbage situation work for specific events?
Well, if it's a large event, we have people that are working on it during the event, but we always pick up the trash afterwards.
Immediately afterwards?
It's close to afterwards as you gotta wait till people leave.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything further, Alderman? Okay.
But
Thank you, Director.
Alderman, I'd be happy to take a look at all of it.
Well, you know where I'm going with this. I mean, if we're getting garbage right away, which we should, but we're also putting, you know, small businesses, which is
it's
really
not good.
what we're all about in downtown, you know, even a day and a half, you know, that's revenue out of their pocket.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Alderwoman Conley again.
Thank you. Director, just briefly, the suggestion of charging an extra fee to organizers of events so that we can ensure that we can incur that overtime cost, is that something that you would be open to?
I'd certainly be willing to consider that, yes.
I think that's something we need to examine because, I mean, you're right, that's an additional cost to the city. I don't want to discourage events downtown because they're a lot of fun and we have a lot going on there, but to wait until Monday night when the marathon was over by noon, you know, if we could shift some of that cost, that would be interested to see a proposal on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for coming this evening, and thanks everybody for comments. Appreciate it. Okay, next is Alice Ramey. Is Alice, did she leave? Okay, Simona, come on down. Please identify yourself. Thank you.
My name is Kelly Meyer. I'm a resident of Ward 6, I believe. I looked that up tonight. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to come and address you. Simona was the one who made me aware of this opportunity. But I am a medical student at SIU School of Medicine here in town. I will be graduating this year and staying in Springfield, so yay.
Oh, yes.
But what I am here to talk to you about tonight is Relay for Life that is happening this Saturday, April 13th at Sacred Heart Griffin's West Campus track. This is the second year that a group of fellow med students and myself have worked to bring this event back to Springfield. We were under the understanding that it was previously organized by a group, and it was much larger prior to us trying to revive this. So what I am here to do is, one, make you aware of the event, because we are struggling to get the word out to our community outside of SIU community. And our SIU community is very small in comparison to the large Springfield community. And so I think it's a good opportunity for us as students to be able to give back to our communities, and I mean, that's what we want to do. And it's a good opportunity for us to partner with the community. So I just want to make you aware of it and see if there's anything that we can do to have a better partnership in the future to get the word out to our citizens and especially our cancer survivors who this is for.
Do you know if anyone from your organization has reached out to the city's communications director? I know there's a community calendar there.
I did not know that was, I wasn't aware of the
It's
communications
newer,
director.
yeah.
We have the marketing department at SIU helping us, and then I've also reached out to News Channel 20, but that was very recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would reach out to the mayor's office. They'll be able to connect you to Haley, at our communications director, and she's good about putting information out not only to the council, but to the community as a whole.
Okay.
And I would like to thank you, Chair Donovan, aldermen for the time and everything. And I just want to say, they're not struggling that bad. The goal is $20,000, and we're at 14,000.
Just under 14,000.
All right, almost there.
So we're doing a great job with the fundraising, but I think the big thing that we want is to people to come out to the event and have a good time. You know, we're going to have yard games out